Yo, investor family, back at it once again. Favorite entrepreneur, your boy, official Tyree Samuels. And once again, I'm back at it with another Forex setup so you guys can be able to see exactly how I trade, why I take the setups I take, why I put the take profit where I put it, and why I put my stop loss where I put it. But most importantly, I want you guys to be able to duplicate the same thing I'm about to show you. So if you guys are ready to go ahead and see the pips that I caught, let me go ahead and catch y'all on the next clip. I'll see y'all soon. Peace. Yo, everybody, back at it once again. Your favorite entrepreneur, your boy, official Tyree Samuels. And you guys know the routine by now. Before we go any further, do not be shy like an apple pie.
What?
It doesn't matter that that didn't make sense because I'm not really tripping. But let me get y'all to go ahead and hit that subscribe button because remember, you are going to be the first person to get the notification. So you don't want to be the person that gets told by the other person, hey, did you see that new video Tyree dropped? Be like, damn, I ain't even get the notification. That's because you're not subscribed. And then with that being said, I would really highly appreciate if you guys could show a little bit of love and show YouTube that you're showing love by going ahead and clicking that like button and give your boy a thumbs up whenever you have the time to do so. And then leave a comment for your boy, you know, letting me know if you like it, if you don't like it, and we can move forward from there. So with that being said, we're going to do another day of being able to go over foreign exchange setups. Okay. So a few of the setups that I've actually been posting have been from like a previous week. And I did actually have a couple setups this week that I will upload later on, or maybe sometime next week or whatever. But this is going to be a shorting opportunity, as you guys saw on the screenshot, for Gbpcad. Okay, so I've done Gbpcad, EuroCAD, USD, JPY, gold, and a few other currency pairs at that. So let's go ahead and get into it so I don't have to do too much talking, right? So the thing I always like to start off by doing with you guys is I like to be able to go all the way back to what it looked like at the time that I actually saw the setup start forming. Okay, so by now, from you guys being able to get on my calls, I would hope that you guys are kind of starting to get a sense pretty much how I start your trade. Okay, so I do obviously give you guys a rough draft version. I'm not giving y'all the final copy with all the nooks and crannies because that would be a pretty long video. Okay, so I'm trying to spoon feed you guys over time with the hope that you guys will eventually grasp it, and you guys can, you know, start sending me screenshots. Start see y'all. One of y'all might send me a trade, and I take that joint and hit all three take profits, and I make some money. I might break off with a little bit of something, huh? Probably not because I'm cheap, but that's neither here nor there. So let's go over the main things that I always go over whenever I'm looking for a setup. So the thing that I always like to point out to you guys is I'm not one of those guys, and this is not at all to talk against people that do this. It's just not what I do to be successful in trading. I don't do the whole top-down analysis initially. I'll do that after the fact when I've gotten a few other confirmations. So I've already explained, you guys know my favorite time frame to be able to scan the market is going to be the 1 hour time frame specifically. That's just what I've been able to get my eyes adjusted to be able to see what I like, what I don't like, and keep it pushing in a very smooth and efficient fashion. I don't know why I'll be having so much gas, but one of the first things I like to be able to utilize is going to be the RSI. So the thing that I've spoken to you guys about time and time again is the RSI is going to show us whenever the market is in the extremes. What are the extremes? The extremes are going to be represented by whenever you see this white line go outside of this purple box. Okay. So if the white line is outside of the purple box to the upside, in order for it to come back in, it would have to start selling. When a white box comes outside of the purple box on the downside, in order to be able to come back into the purple box, it will have to start buying. So a lot of times what you want to be able to see is you want to be able to see the indicator doing something similar to what the market is doing. So notice in this example, how this ended up shooting up. And if you were to look right above, this ended up shooting up as well too, okay? So those are going to be a couple of different things that you guys can look at, right? Now, the thing that I'm most fixated on is this over here, which shows that the market actually came into the extremes on the 1 hour. And on top of that, it's actually doing something that I like to see, which is called divergence. So if I were to take these candles and turn it to the line chart, right, you guys can actually see, well, I'm going to have to put this on here. So if you guys see, if I go from here to here, right, that would show that the market is trending up. But if I look at the RSI and at the same points of emphasis, this is actually going down. And how do I know that this is the same thing? Because if I were to take a vertical line and line it up, you're going to see that these areas are at the same point. But one is going up, one is going down. So divergence, for you guys that don't know, because I still haven't made a YouTube video for you, is going to be a very, in my personal opinion, it's the best indication, the best confirmation to be able to have confidence in taking a reversal trade. You can use it for continuations, but more so the concept of a reversal is like what I usually see it benefits you most for. So I have divergence. I also have the market showing it's come out of the extremes, right? The next thing I want to be able to see is if I go back to the candles, I always tell you guys, right? Once I've seen that the market has hit the extremes or is throwing some divergence, I need to be able to see some type of trending move, some type of impulse move. Now, all impulse moves are not the same. Some people's version of an impulse move is completely different than the next person. Maybe your version is 20 pips. Maybe somebody else's version is 100 pips, right? It's all relative. But we know from how I trade, and usually if you're going to start trading in a certain direction, once the market gives you the ability to see that it has a willingness to go in that direction, you would like to see some type of pullback or retracement before you get in to potentially catch the move going further, right? So this would count for me as my continuation move, which is going to be from here to here, okay? So what I can actually do is I can use my trend line tool, and I can see that this is about a 30 pip move, okay? Which on Gbpcad is not necessarily a whole lot of pips because it does move, but 30 pips is not necessarily anything to laugh at. I remember I was once told you can become a 7-figure trader by going for 20 pips a day. And that is 1,000% accurate. It depends on your trading style, risk management. It does have other factors, not just black and white 20 pips, but the concept of what is being explained, 20 pips a day keeps the poverty away. That is a fact, Jack. Okay. So now that I've obviously identified the impulse move, the thing that I started showing you guys is I'm one of the few people that I've noticed that actually has every single hourly time frame outside of anything past the 12 hours. So I wasn't going to do 13, 14, 15, 16. I wasn't going to do all of that, right? But what I've started to notice is all of these time frames that you guys see are going to serve a different level of importance to me. So the level of importance that they serve is whenever I've identified the extremes have been hit, if I have divergence, which I don't always necessarily have, and I don't need it to take a trade, but it's nice to see, makes me feel more confident, makes me feel less anxious. I flip through all these time frames to be able to find my entry candle. If you guys pay attention to these calls, my entry candle is a what? An engulfing and or institutional candle, depending on how you define it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to flip through these time frames until I find a candle that I find suitable to be able to look at in the notion of taking an entry off of. So I was actually able to literally go one time frame up. So I don't need to go through all these on the call because this is ultimately the time frame I ended up settling on, which I took the trade from, right? So now that we're on the 2 hour, I want you guys to also remember what I taught you guys, right? The thing that I taught you guys is if I'm looking to enter off the 2 hour, because remember the 1 hour is where I kind of get a gauge of if this is even something that's worth my time going deeper into. But if I don't have the same confirmations on the time frame with the candle that I'm gonna take it off of, which is now the 2 hour, the trade is not valid. So say for instance, I came to this 2 hour time frame and this white line was no longer in the extremes. It was just that on the 1 hour. Then I could not take this trade. It needs to be in the extremes on the actual time frame that has a candle that I'm looking at as a point of interest. So once again, you guys notice the market came, hit the extremes. Okay. And as you can see, it is already looking to make a move back into the purple box, which means it has to what? It has to sell. The other thing you guys can notice is we do still have a little bit of divergence. It is not as pronounced as it was on a 1 hour time frame, but this is definitely slanting down, right? At the same time, this is definitely slanting down. At the same time, I can look up here and see that this is obviously slanting up, okay? But it did obviously look better on the 1 hour time frame. So now the only thing I have left to do is my favorite part. So you guys know the 50% is going to be my favorite thing to be able to utilize, right? So the 50%, as you guys see, this is what I've already identified. And I've shown you guys a few times. I will make a YouTube video showing you guys how to do it, how to utilize it the best way, and way more detail with a video specifically targeted towards that education. But for the purpose of this, as I always explain, you know, this is going to serve as an equilibrium. So basically this 50% line that I drew this box at, whenever you draw this on a candle, ultimately you would like to see the market react somewhere between the 50% and the opening of the candle. So what you can actually do is you can use a zone, right? Because not everybody does sell limits and buy limits like me. Some people like to see a rejection. Some people like to actually do a market execution. So you can actually identify this entire zone if you don't have a specific area of entry. And then all you would do is wait for a retracement into this zone and then you could look for the continuation. Okay. Now, there's a reason, if you guys have noticed on these calls, I usually don't go into too much depth on how I go about discovering my take profits, how I go about setting my stop loss, how I go about finding my exact entry. I just give y'all a zone. That's just because over time I will teach that, but I don't necessarily feel like that's as important because it's so few people that actually do buy limits and sell limits all the time. I'm one of the few people that's the only way I basically trade. It is almost never going to happen. It may happen sometimes, but almost never going to happen. I'm going to do a market execution. The only way I'm going to do it is say I fell asleep and I woke up, and by the time I woke up, it's already here. Obviously, I'm going to just go ahead and sell it by market, because how am I going to set a limit if it's already there? But outside of that, I'm not going to do it. So in due time, I will teach you guys how I go about figuring out where I want the market to go as far as having a take profit and why I place my stop losses, how I place them. But as of right now, we're just specifically talking about scanning the market, looking for an idea that makes sense to dive deeper into, seeing if it makes sense to be able to possibly enter. And if you're going to enter, where is the roundabout area you're looking to get in? Okay. So if I were to actually go ahead and let this play out, let's see exactly what happened. So literally think about it. On the very next candle, the market ended up coming and reacting exactly in that zone. Okay. It lingered a little bit. Then it ended up giving us our drop right here. And as you guys can see, basically after it gave us that drop, it immediately reversed, which is why it is extremely important, if you guys don't realize, just as it is important to be able to get in a trade, you need to be able to know how to get out, when to get out, and when to adjust your stop loss to break even, also when to take partials. So think about, if I wasn't looking to take partials or adjust my stop loss to break even when the market got here, and I'm in my head, I'm like, well, I want to see it keep going. It would have completely reversed on me and hit my stop loss. But since I know how to be able to identify targets and how to know when to adjust my stop loss to break even, as soon as the market hit this, which you can set alerts for, right? Then I was instantly able to know, okay, I'm gonna take partials and I'm gonna go ahead and adjust my stop loss to break even. So when the market ended up reversing, I already made my money, and all it did was close me out with no loss, but I still was profitable because of what happened here. So with that being said, guys, that was yet another example of me going over my Forex setups that I personally take, all of which I may have not necessarily sent to my Telegram chat, but I will start doing that moving forward. So what I want you guys to rest assured is, I'm no longer going to upload a video going over a chart if it's not a signal that I sent to my trade signals chat, so that you guys can participate. A good amount of these that I've done, the 4 or 5 that I actually posted on my YouTube channel, you guys can go back and check. Probably 3 of those, including this one, I took personally, but I didn't send it out. But I want to make sure you guys can be more involved, because if it's money that you're making, you're going to be more involved in paying attention to how it is that you made the money by me explaining why I took the setup. So with that being said, guys, let me get you guys to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because I know that YouTube knows that you came to this video and you gained some value. And you can also go share the value with the next person. So please hit the subscribe button. And then finally, guys, please, because I really appreciate it, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and leave a comment. And most importantly, go ahead and tap that thumbs up for your boy. And as usual, you already know where I'm going to see you guys, at the top, not from the top, because the bottom is way too crowded. See you when you want to be a peace.